company that pretty much kind of saved his butt a little bit financially. This Truth Social company. Anybody see that? It's Trump Media and Technology Group. That's the ticker symbol's DJT. And I'm looking at this stock here, and it's or maybe that's not the same DJT. Let me see what. No, this one goes back to 2021. So this is a different company. But give me one second here. Hold on. Because there is another one. There are a couple out here. Give me one second here. Let me pull it up because I think it's worth talking about. I did some stuff with that stock and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Um, ticker symbol is, hold on. Yeah, DJT. I think I was a little bit confused because I'm looking here on the chart and the stock goes all the way back to the start of the year, but I thought it just started trading. So I'm actually a little bit thrown off by that. It says here the Trump Media and Technology Group, the owner of struggling social media platform Truth Social, began its long delayed journey as a public company at Tuesday's opening bell under the ticker symbol DJT. Okay, that's what I thought. The reason I'm thrown off by this though is because it says here in the media that it just launched this week. But here on Robinhood, the trading goes back to the start of the year. Like they have stock prices going back to even January and stuff like that. And maybe they're reflecting the trading when it was private. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to talk to you guys about that just to sort of have a kickoff point of our consciousness exercise. But actually, before I even start though, I want to just say good morning to everybody because I sometimes get caught up in the topic and I forget to my manners. So how's everybody doing today? I see you in here, Chelsea and Eunice and Nelly and Travis and Jonathan, Jimmy, Paige, Carol, Heath. Good morning, Yolanda Thomas. Let's see, Pat Butler, Lathan, I see you. Kenneth Wilson, Taquana, Richard Watkins, David Green. Good to see everybody. Okay, now we can jump into it. So the reason that this was on my mind is because this is kind of a unique experience when you have a president or a guy who wants to be president who just launched a publicly traded company, and the stock has actually done really well. I don't understand it honestly from a fundamental standpoint why the stock did so well because it's not a great company. I looked at some of their financials; they were just not very strong. And so really my argument would be that maybe the Trump company is able to benefit from the meme stock energy that exists now. Meme stock energy means that right now the stock market's kind of, excited, everybody's feeling good and everybody's kind of going crazy because they're watching the market hit all these record highs, so everybody has this FOMO, so they're all jumping in. And just to give you kind of a financial consciousness exercise, I want you to understand that wealthy people, they operate in a way where they have a consciousness about sort of sentiment of the public. People like Trump, they get rich by knowing what people are going to react to. They get rich by knowing what mood the world is in. So it's not a coincidence that they chose to push the stock out there at this particular time. A couple of reasons why Trump wants to have this company publicly traded is because number one, the market's kind of bubbling at these all-time highs. And when you talk about making money, one simple rule. I did an event one time with a great guy. He's a rapper named David Banner, and David and I were sitting there. We were just kind of whispering back and forth to each other during this event, and because it was sort of an event, and it was in St. Louis, and we were talking about money and investing. And I remember I said, a lot of people don't realize that making money a lot of times just comes down to buy low, sell high. Just sell something for more than what you bought it for, or sell things when the price is up and buy when the price is low. And we kind of laughed about it, but that's what Trump is basically doing. Trump is selling while the sentiment's high. I think even he knows that this company is not worth what the market is paying for it. I don't believe that it is. And he's selling because the environment is one where people are willing to pretty much buy anything because people become very irrational. They become very unconscious financially when the market's taking off. In fact, the reason that you have, how many of you have relatives that just fear the stock market, just think the stock market's a place where people get robbed and bad things happen? Give me a yes. Let's consciously acknowledge that and think about this, right? So give me a yes in the chat if you have loved ones like that who just really swear off the stock market. Even my late grandmother, who I love so much, who I give a lot of credit for in terms of introducing me to economics, she hated the stock market because she associated it with a place where poor people get robbed. And to some extent, a lot of working class people do get robbed in a couple of ways. But one of the reasons that people get tricked is they do the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do when you want to make money. If you want to make money, you're supposed to buy low and sell. Say it in the chat. Buy low, sell high, right? Well, when the market goes high, when the market takes off like this, what do people tend to do the most? What do people tend to do? Are they selling or are they buying? That person, that cousin on the sidelines who's trying to make a quick fix, trying to get some fast money, what's he doing? He's reading the headlines and he's reading that the market is going crazy and hitting record highs every week. So now he wants that quick hit. He wants that fast flip, because maybe he's used to that street money, or he's used to that fast money, or he's used to going down to the casino boat and rolling the dice, right? So he goes in and he buys high. And then when the market starts crashing and he's nervous, then what do a lot of people do? They sell. They sell. So what do they do? So remember, to make money, you have to buy low, sell high. But a lot of people, unfortunately, because they don't understand market dynamics, they tend to do the exact opposite. They buy high, sell low. And this really comes down to financial consciousness. It also comes down to having enough consciousness to be able to do the gut check where you have the courage to do something different from what you see everybody else doing. So what does that mean? Well, the gut check means a couple things. One, it means you don't allow your emotions to run away from you the way they run away from everybody else when the market's doing well. The market's doing well, everyone goes crazy. There's a there's a term for this. The former not Fed secretary, I'm sorry, Treasury Secretary, Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan wrote a book called Irrational Exuberance. Irrational Exuberance. So that's just like a party. Imagine a party where the liquor's flowing and people are getting high and everybody's on cloud nine. That's what happens with the market because money literally is a drug. Money affects the same region of your brain as cocaine. It operates just like a drug. Anything that makes you feel good, from food to sex to a day off from work, money does the same thing. If I told you that you had $1 million in your bank account, you would probably start jumping up and down right now, right? So money creates this irrational exuberance. And when the market's irrational, people do irrational things. So when everyone's going crazy, that's when you pull back and say, whoa, let me prepare for the storm. Let me make sure I'm ready for what's next so that I don't get caught up in the dopamine. Thank you, Calvin. The dopamine rush that everybody else is caught up in. And then also financial consciousness means that when the market's dipping and everybody's panicking and, oh my God, and they're going online and everybody has a conspiracy theory that the dollar is going to collapse next week and blah, blah, blah. You don't get carried away with that. Again, I laugh at the conspiracy theories I see online. I think that some of them are kind of true. I think that here's the thing. I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not. Right? Meaning, what do I mean by that? Well, I believe that there is a conspiracy. I believe that there are lots of them. I do. I really do. I do believe that rich people, powerful people get together and because they're operating on a higher frequency or a higher consciousness level of what's happening in the world and their ability to control that, they get together and I do believe that they plan what's going to happen in society. I do believe that. I know. In fact, when I sat in the car with Cornell West, he and I were hanging out for 5 straight hours in New York City. We did an event around this book I wrote in 2013 called "Wealth, Education, Family, and Community: A New Paradigm for Black America." And so we were talking, and he told me that when Obama was running for president, he went into a hotel room with a bunch of powerful people, and they all sat there and made a plan on how they were going to convince Black people to support Barack Obama. Because if you recall, at that time, Black people were not behind Obama because they were afraid to jump the Hillary Clinton ship. They were scared that that Hillary was the only one that had a chance to win. So for them to support him, they had to believe he had a chance to win. That's when the momentum kind of changed in his direction. And they planned that. He said they sat there and it was him and David Axelrod and the former guy that worked with Obama and Barack and some other people. And they made a plan and the plan worked. So there are these meetings, right? These secret meetings that people talk about where people get together and make these plans to control the world. Yeah. And here's the deal. Look, I think you should be doing those meetings too. I really do. I think that instead of letting other people sit in a private room and plan your life, you need to be in a room planning your life. You need to be sitting there. Me and my wife are we are the conspirators of our family. We get together and we make secret plans and diagrams and everything else on how we're gonna manage these kids. And okay, Coco doesn't want to. If we ask her to join this program, she's not gonna want to do it. So we got to trick her into it. We got to tell her that there'll be ice cream and we got to act like we don't want her to do it, so that then she'll want to do it because she's gonna want to rebel against us, right? So me and my wife get together and we conspiratorially plan on how we're going to control our household. We be plotting on these kids all the time, right? So why? Well, because our consciousness level is higher than the children. The 13-year-old ain't got a damn clue. She thinks she's smarter than us. She don't know. She got 2 college professors for parents. Like you ain't gonna outsmart us, okay? So if you want to know if I believe that there are people, smart people, rich people, powerful people that get together and plan the world, I do believe that does happen. The problem is that we end up throwing darts in the dark and guessing, right? People will just grab stuff, a bunch of circumstantial evidence and patch together something that sounds good when you play the video with Tupac music in the background and everybody buys into it. And so then I'm the guy who says, I don't believe that. Like, I just don't get that. And people think, oh, you're not woke. And it's like, no, I am woke. That's why I think this is a bunch of BS. So I am a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist because I think that the conspiracies sometimes are so subtle that we don't know that they're there. That sometimes they're in broad daylight, but then also at the same time, sometimes we trick ourselves out of our possibility. I think that when you talk about something as simple as me explaining to you exactly how the stock market works, the biggest thing you have to worry about is your own internal emotional reaction to sitting there watching your portfolio bleed a little bit, right? But then holding on to whatever you need to hold on to get you to hold on to that damn stock. Holding on to whatever you need to hold on to get you to keep from selling out when times get tough. And that's really true for everything. It's true for running a marathon. It's true for staying married, right? It's true for getting through college. Almost everything that you've ever done in your life, give me a guess if you understand this, almost everything you've ever accomplished in your life required you to remain focused and consistent during the dark times, right? Sunny days, everybody loves them, but tell me, baby, can you stand the rain, right? There we go. That's one of my favorite songs. I know I can't sing worth a damn. I know that. But really, so the point is to say that, the question is, when it comes to investing, can you stand the rain? Can you stay focused when times get tough? So, because the reality is that if you invest heavily during the worst times in American history, during the biggest market declines in history, and you invest consistently and diligently, then you are going to be wealthy. You are going to make a whole lot more money than people who sit on the sidelines. The people who sit on the sidelines are the ones who follow the crowd. Those are the ones who get slaughtered. Sheep get slaughtered. Sheep get slaughtered. Sheep get slaughtered. And when the sheep get slaughtered and they take the meat from the sheep and they put it on a tray, they feed it to smart investors. They feed it to wealthy people. So some of y'all are going to be eating sheep meat. I'm not saying that this is deliberate. I'm not saying that you should harm people. I'm not saying that you should exploit anybody. But literally, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner for many, many years, if you are a good investor, is going to be sheep meat. Why? Not because you're going out slaughtering them yourself. They're slaughtering themselves. They're slaughtering themselves because they're sitting there thinking, well, the market's going down. I got to sell. So what do? You're sitting there like, oh, you're selling. Okay, well, let me help you out there. Let me help you out. Like Willy Wonka, Slugworth. That was the evil villain, the Willy Wonka. Like, you're sitting there like, oh, well, oh, you're selling your $100 stock for $40. Okay, well, I'll help you out. I'll help you out so you can feel safe, right? So a lot of times, if you can't gain investor vision and you can't see the future as well as the present and in the past and all that together, then it's going to be very difficult to be a good investor because a lot of times we're driven by our emotions. If you invest from an emotional standpoint, you will lose. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to get back to the Donald Trump thing in a minute because actually the Donald Trump stock increase to me connects deeply to this issue. And I promise you, you guys know how I am. I talk about the whole issue and then we circle back. But one thing I want to mention really quickly is don't forget that if you want to get together in real time, real space, we're going to do that April 19th in LA for the Stock Options Summit. So if you go to stockoptionssummit.com, you can join. Also, if you have not, text the word morning to 87948, where you can get invitations to join us. A lot of you got a text this morning. Text the word morning on your phone to the number 87948, and I'll send you an invitation to the summit as well as invitations to Money in the Morning, so we can get up and talk about money when we start our day. So here's where Trump's company fits into that whole emotional investing conversation. I believe that Trump supporters are very emotional people. I think that they believe what they believe, and it's okay. I just want to say it real clear. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for. As long as you don't tell me who to vote for, I won't tell you who to vote for. That's not what we do here. That's not of interest to me. Some of you I know are Trump supporters. Some of you I know are Biden supporters. Some of you I know don't support anybody, and it's okay. It's really okay because I honestly I don't know a single Democrat or Republican who's ever had their life changed significantly because of who they voted for. I'm not saying that it's a waste of time. I'm just saying I don't know a single black person whose life got better because of who they voted for. I know a lot of people though whose lives got better because they took care of their kids or whose lives got better because they invested their money. I know a lot of people whose lives got better because they got an education. I know a lot of people whose lives got better because they made good decisions. I know a lot of people whose lives got better because they started eating healthy. I don't know anybody whose lives got better because they voted for a Democrat or voted for a Republican. That's just my experience. Now, with that said, though, I think Trump supporters are very emotional. They're very enthusiastically supporting him. He's now selling Bibles. Thank you, Angelia. Yes, he's selling Bibles for $60. Whatever. He's a businessman. You know, what's going on in my view is that he sees an opportunity in the sense that he's got all these people that love him. He's got to raise money. It costs billions of dollars to run for president. So, yeah, they're probably scrambling to figure out how they can make as much money as possible. And so, one of the things that I think is benefiting this stock price is I believe this stock price is inflated by the emotional support of his investors. I think that there are people out there that are voting for Trump with their dollar bills, voting because buying stock in this Truth Social platform, which I have not tried it. I'm not interested in it. I do like free speech, but I don't really like. I don't know how I feel about Trump one way or the other. But then again, I'm on Twitter, and that's run by Elon Musk. He's an interesting guy too. But I don't think that the company is as good as its valuation. I think this company is worth between $3 and $5 billion, which is absolutely insane. And the stock price went up 20% last night, and now I did buy 100 shares of the stock only so I could sell the options on the stock because the price of the stock options is outrageously high, and I sold a call and I sold a put because I could not believe that the stock price is trading at some really high level, and I bought this put that was way down or something, or sorry, I didn't buy it, I sold it. I'm sorry, I sold it and I instantly got like $4,000 in my account from selling this put, so it's kind of crazy. So what tends to happen is that when people get really excited about a stock, the valuation shoots up, and also the price of the options tend to get really high. And that's when I don't become a buyer of any of those options. I don't buy into anybody's hype, but I'm very happy to sell the hype to people that believe in it. So when I sold that call option, I was selling the option, and I made a few $1,000s from it. I sold the option to all the people that believe in Trump. I don't care if you believe in Trump or not. I'm just observing your behavior, and if you really believe in this guy and you're willing to put money on it, then God bless you. I hope that it works out for you, and I'm willing to sell you options on my stock in order for you to fulfill whatever obligation you feel to this man. So with that also being said, I think that the support of the stock is a way for his supporters to step in and give him campaign financing. Because if you remember, not Fannie Willis, I'm sorry, Letitia James, they always get these black people to go sue the Republicans and stuff. I don't know what that's all about, but anyway, the So Letitia James got this big verdict against him for, I think, almost $500 million, and he had to put up this massive bond. And people were wondering if he had enough money to pay the bond. And I'm going to tell you, based on my analysis, he does have the money. He has a ton of money. I mean, this guy has properties that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Mar-a-Lago is the market value is $250 million, and that's totally paid off. Totally paid off. And he's got the money. I think he's got the money, but this sale of this stock allows him to get even more money. I think that he made $2 to $3 billion in his net worth from selling the stock. And the value of that, though, isn't just that he increased his net worth by 2 to 3 billion, but he also it's liquid net worth. See, liquid wealth is very different from paper wealth. Paper wealth, you can't really go you can't go write a check on paper wealth. You can't go, withdraw money out of the bank account based on just pure paper wealth. Liquid wealth is where I can hit a button on my phone and pull the money out just like that. That's one of the reasons why, for example, I think building a business by selling stock options and building up a capital base and all that is the best way to make money because think about it. If someone starts a business and they pour, if you start a bakery or something, you might pour 50,000, maybe $100,000 into that bakery over time. And what are you doing when you're pouring all this money into this bakery so that hopefully you can sell some baked goods every week, right? So if you're making, say, a couple $1,000s a week selling baked goods, then you say, okay, I poured money into this business. Now it's generating revenue for me. And so to generate that revenue, it doesn't just require the investment. It also requires a lot of work. And also there are a lot of expenses and there's some risk that goes with that. Now, let's say that you decide, I don't want to do this anymore. I've done this bakery 2 years. It's been a lot of fun, but I want to get out of it. Well, it's very difficult for you to go right back to the market and sell that bakery, right? It's hard for you. Let me know if you're following this. It's very hard for you to find a buyer that's really going to give you back all the money that you poured into that business. They probably won't, right? And then on top of that, if something goes wrong, you may not even be making income from the business. The business may fail, right? The beauty of selling stock options and stuff like that, that's a lot of what we do in the Prime program, is that all the money that you pour into the business, a big chunk of it, you can instantly get it back within seconds. All I have to do, if I wanted to sell the stocks that I purchase, that I sell options on, that I generate income from every week, I can literally go into the app and get that money out in the next 15 seconds, right? So that liquidity, that ability to have liquid wealth is an absolute premium when it comes to economics. Don't forget liquidity. Don't forget liquidity. Don't forget liquidity. A lot of people do. What's an example? Well, I'll hear a lot of people who will talk about investing in startups, and they'll put money in somebody's startup, and it may take 5 years for that startup to be able to make enough money to give that person any income, let alone a return on their investment. So you pour money into your cousin's startup, and that money instantly gets sucked in by the business. So you got this business there, but you can't get your money out. It's not possible, right? So your money may be sitting there inside this business for 3, 4, 5 years before you can touch it. I invested in a startup. I invested a decent amount of money. I want to say maybe $75,000, maybe 5 years ago, and I got a report from them 2 years later saying that my $75,000 investment was now worth $250,000, which is good, right? It tripled. Awesome. But I can't get that money out. If I need that money right now, I can't get that money out until there's an exit, until they go public or get sold. So basically that money, it's like putting money into a black hole that just sits there for years. And some people are okay with that type of investing, but I don't like that. I like liquidity. I like being able to access my money when I need it. And so a lot of people don't talk about what they call in finance, they call that the liquidity premium. The liquidity premium is basically just this idea that when your money is easy to obtain, you feel better. You feel safer. It's less risky, less risky. So an asset, if you have two investments with equal value, both worth $100,000, the liquid one is always worth a little bit more than the one that's not liquid. Okay. Now, some of you are asking some questions. I saw one of you were asking about the Stock Options Summit. Yeah, the website is stockoptionsummit.com. Options with an S, stockoptionsummit.com. It's April 19th in Los Angeles. So feel free to go there. If you can't go and you just want to still dig in, you're looking for an introduction into investing in wealth, we have a great program in the Black Business School, blackmoney101.com. Blackmoney101.com is basically an introduction to the power of money. You can take a look at that. And also don't forget that, and I can actually show you guys, we actually have a really awesome platform, a bookstore with the Black Business School at drboycebooks.com. Let me see if I can show you guys this because we actually have some merch now. I'm actually kind of proud of the merch. Well, our team worked really hard to like develop the merch. So let me actually show you guys real quick. So effectively what we did was we put together this store where we just literally it's kind of a one-stop shop for anything related to Black wealth, and I'm just obsessed with Black wealth and Black people and all that stuff. So we've got everything from Dr. Claude Anderson books like Powernomics, my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, all kinds of fun stuff there. You can get discounts. If you use the code word book club, you can get 30% off anything in the store. And so you can buy the books in bulk and get a big discount. Like right here, you can get autographed copies of my books where I'll sign the books and our kids will send them to you. That's my wife, Alicia. So we have a lot of resources for couples and families. She's a relationship therapist. And I've talked to you guys extensively about how relationships matter when it comes to wealth building, that if you can't maintain your relationships, you'll probably lose your wealth. If you want to see examples, look all over the internet at people that are arguing constantly about how much money somebody should want for a first date. Or I think there was one lady who said, I won't go on a first date if a man isn't willing to spend $100 or something, or $200 or something like that. And then another guy says, I'm not going out with women anymore because it costs too much. And then someone else is saying, I lost all my money in my divorce, right? So really all these relationship issues have a huge economic impact. Then there are people saying, I won't date single mothers because their kids are too expensive. And then you got people saying, I won't date a broke man because he doesn't have enough money, or how much money should a man make before I date him. And I believe our models are very simple. We have daughters, and our girls are not ever going to be in a situation where they depend on a man to get them the money that they need. That's you're going to have to get their attention some other way, and they're beautiful just like their mother. And I just want to make sure they're economically prepared so they don't feel that the only way they can have what they need is through a bad relationship. I want them to understand wealth. I want them to have their own businesses. I want them to know little things like how they can sell stock options and make more money than a surgeon without even having to go to college if they don't want to. I want them to live their lives. I want them to be happy. These are straightforward solutions that are out there. And I'm solution oriented, right? So if you go to drboycebooks.com, we even have merch and apparel. So the merch stuff is there. That just got started. So take a look at some of our merch if you're into that kind of thing. It's something that we put together for you guys. And then we have a lot of stuff for children. We are very, very big, very, very big, very, very big on educating kids. I believe that if we get our kids ready and our grandkids ready for the next generation, that's how they succeed. They will dominate other groups of people. They will win. They will not be a day late and a dollar short. And you got to just do three things. We have something we call the KID model. KID stands for knowledge, investment, and discipline. Knowledge means every Black child knows how to start a business by the age of 12. It means every child understands the difference between being an owner and a renter. Every child knows how to keep their poise, POISE, producer, owner, investor, saver, entrepreneur. Also, investment means that you're doing things like the $5 a day plan. So if your child has the $250,000 asset base that we've designed for them to have by the age of 30, then they can literally do something simple like sell stock options and make more money than a doctor without even having to get out of bed that day, right? So that is a type of freedom that I want our people to have. We always talk about freedom, but nobody really understands that you are never going to be free in America if you ain't got no money. You're just not. If you think you're going to be free in America and you ain't got no money, then you don't understand capitalism. And capitalism is basically legalized pimping. Pimping only works typically on people that are vulnerable. So if you leave your kids vulnerable, they're going to get pimped. If you leave them vulnerable, they're going to get exploited. They're going to become slaves to the capitalist system. So we have flashcards, workbooks, digital programs, all kinds of stuff, because we don't need white people to educate our kids. We got this. I have a whole PhD in this stuff. Dr. Lene Javette is brilliant. We have attorneys, we have millionaires, billionaire Mike Roberts wants to come in and teach a class. We are getting it done. Like we are the best on earth at this stuff. So I just wanted to show this to you guys so you can go take a look. Our team puts in a lot of work and it's all available. So I hope that you'll consider this being kind of your one-stop shop for preparing for the next generation and beyond. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing right now. So thank you for letting me show you that. And I hope that you'll feel free to go to drboycebooks.com and take a look. Okay, so what I'm going to do is answer a few of your questions. Olivia says sell. So I should sell? Oh, you were answering. Okay, I see that. Good morning, Lillian. Good to see you. Okay, let's see. Shauna says, I'm in your prime course. I joined to replace income with stock options. Would you say being in the prime course is good enough to learn to trade options, or should I join the stock options masterclass also? Actually, great question, Shauna. If you're in the Prime program, which is drboyceprime.com, you actually get free access to the stock options masterclass. So don't sign up for the masterclass if you're already in the Prime program. If you don't want to do the Prime program, and you just want to go through our really good stock options weekend, you can go to stockoptionsmasterclass.com. But Prime members get that for free. So, and if you can't find it or you have any issues, remember we have a support team that's 24/7 waiting for you to reach out. Just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com and they'll guide you to whatever you need. Let's see, Dr. Watkins, would you please share the passcode for the Ace Chapman follow-up Q&A on demand session? You know what? That's a good, I don't know what the passcode is. That's a great one. Great question, Diana. Email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. They should, I didn't know that there was a code. I didn't know what happened with that, but email them. And Ace Chapman is, his program starts on the 1st, and he's actually got a great system of purchasing businesses with pretty much no money down. He's really good at it. So feel free to take a look at that. If you're on the list, text morning to 87948. I can send you all a link if you want to go take a look at it. But we've been talking about it for a while. Ace actually came to class. And in addition to that, if you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, they can guide you to that information if that'll help your family. It will be a good, fun family project, actually. I think that stuff like this, here's the deal. When you get together with family and you start a business together and you make money together, that is awesome, not just because it's profitable, but it's really just fun and it'll bond you in amazing ways. A lot of us are not conscious of how we miss bonding with people that we love because we're all busy at work all the time. Like, in fact, let me do a consciousness exercise. And Carol, I see your question. Put your question in the Q&A section, Carol, so I don't forget it. But I don't want to lose my train of thought. So if you could put it in the Q&A section, Carol, I promise you I'll answer that. And everybody else as well. So here's the thing. Like, think about, like, has anybody ever gone? Tell me if you can relate to this. I can remember many times where I would go to a family gathering, right? And you know how everybody would gather maybe at grandma's house for Christmas, and you see those cousins you haven't seen all year, or you go to a funeral, you go to a wedding, or whatever, and you haven't seen that cousin for like it's 2024, March 2024, but you haven't seen them since 2022. But even though they live like 10 miles from you, anybody ever have that experience? Um, well, think about this. When you see them, what's the first thing you say? Well, you typically say, "Hey, how you been? Oh my God, it's so good to see you again." And then you say, "So what have you been up to?" What are they usually? What 8 times out of 10 is the answer usually going to be? What is it? What usually are they going to say when they say they've been really busy? They've been busy doing what? Oh, nothing. Just working. Right? And it's not like they're working on building a billion-dollar company or working on pursuing their passion. It's like it might be a job at a factory or an office job. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with hard work. But I personally believe that if given a choice, that would not be their top preference of what they're going to do with their day. I think that there are other things they might rather do than sit in a factory all day, right? But that's what we are led to do, right? That's what we're led to believe. So what I really want you to think about is every year I'm missing all these chances to connect with people that I love because we're all at work. So we're connecting with our boss instead of connecting with our sibling or our cousin or even our spouse. So what happens is that if you can get together with people that love you and then figure out a way to make money together, then it's beautiful because not only are you connecting, but you're benefiting from the connection. It's like a double whammy. It's like I don't know. It's really just like having like ice cream and cookies at the same time on the same day that you win the lottery. Like and then also you're having sex at the same time, right? Like you're really having like all these wonderful experiences that all support each other. The one doesn't take away from the other, right? It's almost like if you marry a spouse and you love that person and you're attracted to them and they also help you succeed. Well, then it creates what they call in economics, they call this a multiplier effect. The multiplier effect is where 2 + 2 is not 4. It actually becomes 2 times 2. Well, which is still actually 4. So that's such a bad example. 7 + 7 is no longer 14. It becomes 7 times 7, which is 49. How about that? How about we use that example? Because 2 + 2 is such a bad example, Boyce. Get it right. All right. So the point is to say that that's what you want. They call that synergy. right? That's another term that's used. Synergy is where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So I get together, I bring what I've got, you bring what you've got. We get together and we're family. We love each other. We're talking, we're connecting, blah, 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 blah. And then we're talking business and we're letting each other know what we're trying to do, trying to solve problems. We're helping each other solve problems. And then next thing you know, bam, maybe one of us, how many of you, seriously, how many of you, in fact, let me ask the Prime members in here, how many of you have like run to your relatives screaming, oh my God, I just found this amazing way to make money. And your relatives are like sitting with you or thinking about sitting with you to figure it out, right? How many of you have done that? A lot. I know a lot of you have done that because I talked to you. I talked to a guy yesterday who told me, he said, I'm so excited. He said, I got so many friends that have money. Oh, we're going to do amazing things. And I said, I love that because that's exactly what I do with my sister. My sister is a medical doctor who makes a lot of money. She is not a broke person. And I explained to her, I was like, well, you could, the amount of money that you make, you could actually make the same amount without doing anything. Like, and so my sister is so obsessed, she's calling me constantly. My sister and I, we talk, we love each other, but it's funny, like we used to fight a lot and we were close, but we would fight a lot. So we love each other, but sometimes we didn't always like each other, but we never disliked each other enough to really dislike each other. Like I love my sister, but she kind of lives her life. She kind of we like these parallel existences, right? But I love my sister though, so don't ever think there's any beef there. But it's still kind of like one of those things where she calls me when there's a reason or when we just haven't talked for a while, but it's not that normal that we're like really connected like that. My brother and I, we work together. We built a lot of things together. My sister and I, sometimes it's a little weird and awkward because we're different people. But this is one area where for the first time, my sister was calling me every day. She's like, okay, so I don't understand. So when you buy the put and then you sell the call and then but you buy the call and then I'm like, no, you don't buy the call, you sell the call. And I'm explaining all this to her. Why? Well, because we're excited. We're like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is a great way to make money, but it's also allowing us to connect. That's the point, right? And the win is not just the money. The win is the connection. The money is a bonus. So what I would say to you is that if you ever want to really have fun in your life, get together with people that you really love, people you want to be close to, that are also serious people. And you can't do this with the clowns and buffoons in your family or undisciplined people. They just get on my nerves. Like my undisciplined friends, they can stay over there. But the ones that really that I can work with, I love it. I love the idea of being able to be close to the closest people in my life and to be succeeding together. Like that just creates like a type of power that you can't even imagine. And it's so much better than what we were introduced to as Black people. I really think that we were just introduced to the world in a way where we're just expected to always be scrambling and gambling and getting our butts kicked and struggling and all this. And I don't want our kids scrambling, gambling, and struggling. I want our kids winning, succeeding. I want them to be on top of the world. Right? So I believe, this is my core belief, that financial intelligence at a very high level in the Black community is going to be one of those things that liberates millions of our people. I really do. In fact, right now, even with the internet democratizing media the way it has, what you're seeing also online is you're seeing lots of millionaire Black men emerging that you never would have seen a generation ago. I saw the comedian Country Wayne talking on Club Shay Shay, and so here you have these two Black guys that are both millionaires talking, and so Country Wayne is explaining how he does these little skits, and he does 3,000 skits a month or something, some big number like that. And he said, oh yeah, I have one account where we make 40,000, but that's the one I don't even think about. And another account where we make another 100,000 a month, and then over here we make another 100,000 a month. I mean, he's literally going through all these big numbers, and I just was excited for him because in a generation ago that wouldn't have happened if you weren't one of the elites that were selected by other people outside of the Black community to be on TV or on the radio or whatever. If you weren't the Steve Harvey or the Tom Joyner or whatever, or the Martin Lawrence or whatever, or the Will Smith, you never had a chance to live that life. And so I think that even with the advent of the internet, it has created this class of like a lot of people that are able to be economically independent. So some of them become millionaires, but that's not everybody. I know this, right? But then I've seen a lot of people just make a good enough living where they're financially free. And when you become financially free, you're not just financially free. In many cases, you're free. And so remember, financial freedom is different from freedom. Financial freedom is a component of freedom. Financial freedom can unlock the other freedoms that you're looking for in your life. So I just think that this is a beautiful time to be Black. I think that a lot of opportunities are emerging. I think the world's going to continue to evolve, and it's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. Okay, so anyway, let me get back and answer a few of your questions here. Let's see here. Should we keep rapidly declining stocks in weak companies during the crash? Well, I think protecting the portfolio is the best approach. That way, it's a little less painful. So you sacrifice a little bit now, so you can be safe a little bit later. So we're gonna do a special training on creating this what I call a stormproof portfolio. That is, let me grab the link here. I'll give you the link if you want to sign up and join us. I believe the date is the 3rd of April, or it could be the 1st. So don't quote me on that. You can take a look at it though here, and everything that we do on that day is April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. So let me share this link with you. And basically what I'm going to do is go through steps you can take to sort of stormproof your portfolio, the same way you stormproof your house when a hurricane's coming. I think you should stormproof your investments so that you can minimize the amount of discomfort and/or financial trauma you can experience in the event that the market goes down. There's no definitive belief that the market's going to decline this year, but there are a lot of risk factors to say that the market's a little bit tipsy, meaning that the market is on the edge. So when something's on the edge, it doesn't mean you've actually fallen off the mountain. The market being on the edge it means if there's a strong wind that comes along, if somebody pushes the market, then it's going to fall off the edge. That's the market that you're in right now. So I don't know for sure if that crash is going to happen. But I know crashes do occur. They occur all the time. So when you have relatives that say, well, what if the stock market crashes? All you have to do is say, of course it's going to crash. Everything that goes up does eventually come down, but the market has never crashed and disappeared. The market has never crashed and stayed crashed. The market has never gotten sick and never got better. Every time there's a crash, there's always a recovery. Every time the sun goes down, the sun comes back up. There's always the calm before the storm, but then there's the sunrise after the storm is over. So that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for the big win. So really a crash is a wonderful opportunity if you play it in the right way. Let's see here. Next question here. Sharon says, if you pay $17 million for the property, how's it worth $750 million now? Are you talking about Trump's Mar-a-Lago? I don't know. I just know that when I looked up the market value, it said 240 million, but I could be wrong. I don't know. It's Donald Trump's money, not mine. But still, I think the guy does have money. He's had money for a long time. People that say that Trump doesn't have money or doesn't know how to make money are people, honestly, that don't understand money. You might not like the guy, but the man's got money. He ain't got that big jumbo jet for nothing. And a lot of his wealth is tied to not just his liquidity. His liquid capital is tied to access to capital. Access to wealth can be as powerful as having wealth itself. If you have access to wealth, then you can get things done. Like for example, I would give up if somebody gave me a choice. They said, which would you rather have, a check for $10 million, or would you like to control and have access to Warren Buffett's wealth for a day? You can't keep it, but you can use it, do whatever you want. I would much prefer to have control of Buffett's wealth for a day because I can make 80 million in a day from controlling Warren Buffett's wealth. So access to capital is really important. This is why I tell you that the best thing you can do for your kids is not get them a college degree. I'm not saying college degrees are bad, but this is not the best way to make them financially secure. What's the best thing you can give your child? Somebody type it in the chat. I'm going to keep repeating this, by the way, because that repetition is how we get things into our conscious and subconscious mind. What's the most important thing that a child can have if they want to be financially secure later on down the line? It's not a college degree. Somebody wrote poise. There goes a capital base. There you go. Thank you, LaShonda, Tequila, Barbara, Levant. You've been paying attention. Awesome. Yeah, a capital base. That's access to capital. If they have money sitting somewhere that they can either use or borrow against, then they can solve pretty much any financial problem. We talked about how the Rockefellers built their wealth, right? We talked about how in the Rockefeller family, they take a life insurance policy on every Rockefeller. I don't know how, I haven't confirmed any of this, but this is from what I understand the way they keep their wealth. They take a life insurance policy out on you when you become a Rockefeller, and then throughout your life you get to live the Rockefeller lifestyle by borrowing against the cash value of this life insurance policy. The Rockefeller Family Trust is paying the premiums. So you don't have to pay the premiums, I assume. And you can borrow against this. This is the capital base that you have access to. So you have, $10 million in this life insurance policy in cash value. So you can't take the cash, but you can borrow against it if you want to. And then when you die, that policy kicks in and it pays a benefit, and the benefit goes right back into the family trust. That seems pretty smart to me. And so what's really going on is they're using the strategy that a lot of rich people use, or a variant of the strategy that we've talked about, called buy, borrow, and die, where they buy stuff, they control assets, access to capital, they build a capital base, and then they borrow against the capital base. The capital base is going up in value because inflation never goes away. Every assets go up in value constantly, not all assets, but the majority of them. And then when they die, their kids don't have to pay any taxes on any of the capital gains that occurred during the course of their life. So effectively, if you want to talk about something like inflation, the worst thing to do in inflation, in an inflationary economy, is to not be an investor, because what's happened is that because they've killed the labor unions with the corporations, your wages are not going up. Your ability to pay your bills is not going up, but your bills are going up. The cost of everything's going up. I just heard a report this morning that said that the median home price in America is now over $400,000. Now, I'm going to ask y'all, how many of y'all remember not too long ago when buying a $400,000 house was pretty impressive? How many of y'all remember, like, somebody said, we just got a house, it's $400,000, and you were like, ooh, you're doing good, right? Most of us remember that just a few years ago. If somebody bought a house for 400 grand, there's no way somebody could own a $400,000 house and still say that they're poor. Maybe they could say we're house poor or something, but they can't say that they're poor. You're not poor if you have a $400,000 house. Well, now you might not be poor, but you're kind of average, which is mind-boggling to me. The average house is $400,000, but people's pay has not gone up. It hasn't gone up, and the economy is so crazy rigged. It's terrible. All these millions of people that are coming in across the border, they're all going to be looking for jobs. So there's an oversupply of work. This is where I become the conspiracy theorist. This is where I believe there are just some rich people sitting around somewhere plotting the direction of our society. I think that they're sitting here saying, look, we can't get Americans to go to work anymore. Black people don't want to vote Democrat the way they used to. They're asking questions, and we don't like that. So let's just bring in 50 million people right, from other places that we can then, do what we need to do with them, right? And also, I mean, if you're illegal, then you're going to work for almost nothing. And I'm seeing it. I was in Denver, and I'm starting to see little pockets of activity that didn't exist last time I was here. Like for example, guys on the corner, the guys on the corner that come up and they want to clean your windshield. They don't bother really anybody. At least the guys don't. The ones I don't like is when somebody comes up and they start cleaning your windshield and they don't ask for permission. That's what I don't like. But when they at least ask, it's okay. I'm just like, no, thank you. But it's still it's different, right? It's different. So long story short, the economy is really rigged against you if you're a worker. Every intelligent Black person needs to be an investor. And you don't have to invest lots of money. You can invest $5, $10, $15 at a time. But if you can afford more than $5, $15 at a time, then I think you should do that. I think you should make investing important in your life, because what happens is that investing becomes a protection against inflation. When inflation hits and prices go up, that money goes somewhere. The money typically goes into the hands of the producers and the owners of assets. So when the average value of a home goes up, everybody doesn't lose. The people that lose are the people that don't own a home yet, because they got to go pay the high price. Now, Patricia says she lost sound. Give me a yes if you can hear me. Patricia, I don't. If I get it yeses, then that means it might be on your end, Patricia. Yeah. So can somebody type in the chat and tell Patricia that it's probably on her end, because I don't know how to fix that. Okay. So basically, when you're talking about this economy, the people that sell products, they make money during an inflationary economy. There's little stuff that they did during the pandemic, like shrinkflation, where they were giving you less in your Doritos bag, but charging you the same price. But then also the people that make money are people that own assets. Like if you own land or houses, then when the average home value goes up to $400,000, or the median, I can't remember if it's the median or the mean, then that means that the value of your real estate has gone up. So that wealth increase balances against the higher cost of living, right? And this is where you want to be. And the thing about it is that, you know, to some extent, the highway of wealth, it's like this thing where you've got these on ramps where you're not you're just a worker, you're not investing, and you hit an on ramp, and then suddenly you become an investor. Next thing you know, you're flying down the highway. You're not on the side streets, stopping at every red light. You're on the freeway and you're going 70 miles an hour. And so your investment vehicles are, which is an appropriate term, are very, very fast. The problem with the highway is that the on ramps are becoming fewer and far between. And also, the level of the highway is getting higher and higher and higher. So basically, your kids are going to have a harder time jumping from being, say, the worker to becoming the investor than you will. So the best way for you to get the kids and grandkids on that highway of wealth is to get your car on there now and then pass your car on to them when they get into the game, when they get into the game of economics. If they do what the majority of our people end up doing, where the kids start off with nothing and have to figure it all out, they're not going to be in a society where wealth building will be as easy to adopt as a life strategy as it is for us. Like right now, you can start investing with just a few dollars. Right now, you can still buy a home if you really are focused on that. In a generation, the ability to buy a home is going to be diminished, I believe. And the price, because home prices are going to get like they're going to get overly expensive the same way you had with healthcare costs and student loan costs or tuition, right? There was a time a generation ago where a person who wanted to work 2 or 3 jobs and save their money could afford to pay their way through college. That day is gone. That day is gone. You cannot pay your way through most universities without financial help. If you get sick, getting sick will deplete all of your wealth. So you can't afford to get sick without the help of the insurance companies. But maybe there was a time where you could actually pay out of pocket and have it be okay. So I think that at some point, things like buying a home might be in that same category, because when you see companies like BlackRock stepping into that game and they're seeing the ROI, they're like, hey, wait, if I buy this property, it's going to go up in value. I can make income from it. Why not jump in this game? We've got 9 trillion sitting around. Why don't we use some of that to just take over the real estate market? So when that elephant gets in the bathtub, the water level rises, the prices rise, because elephants like BlackRock have gotten into the tub, and it's not just you and I anymore trying to buy houses. It's major corporations. So I would say to prepare and protect your family and your future and your kids, get into these things as soon as you can so that you'll be an owner, so that when the water rises, the rising tide will lift your boat. But you got to get a boat. You can't be swimming. You can't just be out here swimming, because when that tide rises, it's going to cause you to drown. A lot of our workers are swimming. Investors have built a boat. So maybe I can help you as much as I can in that regard. Okay, now one of you were asking, how do you get recordings of the portfolio power plays that we do on Tuesdays? That is in the Black Stock Market Program. So the URL is theblackstockmarketprogram.com. The first month is free. I'm going to share this link with you, and you can go take a look. And all the recordings of every single portfolio power play we've ever done is in there. It's good stuff. It'll benefit you. So feel free to go take a look at that. And also another thing is the Stormproof investing seminar that we're going to do. That's going to be April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join us, I'll give you guys the link in a second, and I'll put that in the chat so you can join us for that. And we're going to basically talk about how to get ready for what I believe is a coming economic storm. I believe that the market's going to dip this year. You want to make sure you're protected. And one of the biggest things about investing in terms of managing emotions is don't get greedy. I'm a believer that a smart investor is not a greedy investor. Greed is what causes you to get too comfortable. Greed is what causes you to think more so much about the upside that you forget about the downside. Greed gets you in significant trouble as an investor. So the opposite of greed would be to prepare for the downturn. It's to pull back, spend a little bit of money protecting and managing the risk, so that you don't have to deal with all the turmoil that might be yet to come. But then again, if you like that kind of chaos, then maybe, it's okay to, there are some people who say, you know what, I'm not going to manage my risk. I'm just going to deal with it, and it's going to be okay. And that's not a terrible approach per se, but it makes me feel bad when I hear about people like losing all their wealth. Like, anybody remember that football player, uh, Quentin Portis? Quentin Portis was this player for the Washington Redskins, and he was the highest paid running back in the NFL. Well, Quentin got to the Clinton. It was either Quentin or Clinton. I can't remember. Anyway, let's call him Portis. He called his friend because he was sitting outside his investment advisor's office with a gun, and he was going to go in there and do what guns do. He's going to take his life, and basically the reason is because I guess Clinton had millions of dollars invested with this guy, and he lost everything. And I can just tell you flat out that if somebody says I had $10 million and I lost everything, that means they weren't following rules of appropriate investing. There was something that was going on that didn't make any sense. And it could have been a number of factors. It could have been a lack of diversification, like you put all your money in your cousin's liquor store, or never put your whole life savings into any one thing, even your own business. Don't do that. That's just not smart. It could have also been fees. See, what happens is that a lot of investment advisors structure the fee situation where they make sure they get their money whether you make money or not. And so ultimately what happens is that when your portfolio balance drops because they've gotten you into some risky investments, they're still getting their money consistently. A lot of NBA and NFL players go broke, but their agents, their lawyers, and their financial advisors never go broke. And there was one guy that was a player for the Utah Jazz. I don't even remember his name, but I know that he hosted a Black Wealth event out in not Kansas City. It was, oh gosh, it was somewhere out in the Midwest. I think Oklahoma City. That's it, Oklahoma City. And I should know his name. I ate lunch with him and I liked him. I'm not good with names. But one thing he mentioned to me that I thought was very interesting was he said that when he signed his contract, that his agent and his financial advisor snuck in a whole bunch of fees that he thought that he was going to overlook because he made assumptions that his financial consciousness was very low. He thought that because he was a 22-year-old black man, he'd be focused on, girls with big booties and cars with nice rims and flexing on Instagram. And he literally read the contract and went through the fine print and said, I don't want to pay this. I don't want to pay this. I don't want to pay this. I shouldn't have to pay this. And he negotiated all those fees out of the agreement. And he said, if I hadn't have been looking, then he would be making all this money off me and I wouldn't even know it. And he said, a lot of guys fall for that. So that lack of financial intelligence can be very costly. Ignorance, they say that education is expensive, but it'll never be as expensive as ignorance. Ignorance is the most expensive thing that you can ever endure in your life. So ignorance can be very costly. So don't pay that price. Pay the price of education instead. Now, someone was asking, how do I join the training? How to make money without working? You can do that in a couple of ways. One, you can either go to my website, boycewatkins.com, or if you text the word money to 87948, type 87948 in your phone, text just one word money, and I'll text it back to you. Or you can go to boycewatkins.com, and it's a good training. It's free, and you can take a look at it. I think you'll really like what you see. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I got to get ready to fly. Actually, you know what? There are a bunch of questions. Let me answer a few quick questions. Okay, Diana says I'll call support. Okay, great. Carol, can you extend the time of the discount for the crash proof on April 1st? Email support@theblackbusinessschool.com and tell them that I said to give you the best discount that they can. We had a special on that where it was 48% off, but just as a matter of integrity, we had to cut it off when we cut it off. But there may be some discount available. So email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. The event's going to be April 1st at 8 p.m. Malaysia says, okay, you asked about the portfolio power replays. Yeah, the blackstockmarketprogram.com. I put that in the chat. Marcia, if I sell options, can I legally use that as a business like an LLC for tax purposes? Yeah, you can. Talk to your tax advisor about that and just make sure you're doing everything in the right way. But that is something that I've seen people do. Are we able to mass produce Black business schools throughout the country as a collective? We could, and maybe there's a plan we could put together on that. I think that the challenge is getting the buy-in from everybody. Like a lot of times when I'm talking consistently about this, it's really me working very, very hard to show you that this is not hocus pocus. This is not, a bunch of silly, flashy nonsense or just a bunch of myths and false promises, right? Because there's a lot of noise on the internet. I mention this to you guys every day. Every other person is a stock market expert because they learned how to buy stock last year, and it's not something I really get upset about because I think I can show that I understand what's going on a deeper level. But it is a little bit frustrating sometimes when you've been studying stock market investing for 35 years and somebody else has been studying it for 35 weeks. But because they're flashy and they pull up in a Lamborghini, people want to go run and pay $5,000 to learn from that person. When I'm like, well, actually, a lot of what they're saying is nonsense. I'm just not going to say it, because I don't want to get into that stuff. So the Black Business School is built on sound financial theory. It's built on sound solutions. It is built on a fundamental, unwavering belief that most of what plagues us financially in the Black community is 100% solvable. The reason the problem is not solved is because we have bad culture, which is built on bad habits. And so the reason that I do money in the morning every day, every single morning, and repeat myself is because we're forming new habits, which is going to shape new culture. So I figured that if I'm talking to you every single day, that will help us to work together where we're walking hand in hand and we're rebuilding a culture that's going to be one built on the kind of excellence that we really deserve. That's what we do in the Black Business School. We're as sturdy as they come. The people are extraordinary. And so maybe at some point we can, I believe at some point we will be able to get, say, $100 million, $200 million and really do what we want to do. I tried to get Kanye West to buy into that vision. Unfortunately, Kanye is a little bit distracted. He's a hard person to kind of talk to. He liked what we were doing. He got the vision. He understood it, but he then got into all this other stuff. Like we talked about doing some kind of event after the rapper got killed down in Texas, and he mentioned some stuff about the Jewish stuff, and I was like, dude, like I'm not trying to show up where you have a swastika on your t-shirt. Like that's not, like I don't care that much about that issue. I care about Black wealth and Black people. Can we stay focused? He's hard to make stay focused, and it's very difficult when someone has that much money. Their awareness can be affected, right? When people have a lot of money, it can make their ego kind of explode a little bit, and they don't feel like they have to listen to really anybody. And so my position was that, look, you don't have to listen to me, but I'll just tell you what I know and hope that that helps you. But I can't live in a world also where you believe, and I think Kanye had said to the Adidas CEO, he said, I don't listen to people who make less money than me. And I said, look, I make less money than you, but I know exactly why you make so much money. You make a lot of money because white people like you. White people like your music. They like your ugly shoes. They'll pay $300 for these shoes that are worth $10, and I'm happy for you because of that. But people like me, intelligent Black people, we see right through that nonsense. Nobody in my family will ever buy those overpriced, ugly shoes. That's for like little Japanese kids or white people that just emulate anything that a rapper does, right? So let's get past the nonsense and let's talk about things that make sense. Let's talk about dollars and cents. So my position was, I said, I'm not showing up as a fellow rapper. I'm showing up as a piece of Donda. I relate to Donda. My wife is Donda. My wife, like your mother, is a professor from the South Side of Chicago who cares about the Black community. I want to build around that. I'm not a Kardashian. I don't understand any of that. I don't have an issue or beef with Jewish people. I also don't want to do fashion shows in Paris. I want to build like I believe Black men are supposed to build. This is what so I did propose an idea. I said, you love Dr. Claude Anderson the way I do. You love Powernomics the way I do. I said, why don't we take some of that money that you're wasting and build Powernomics centers around the country where we can build them the same way the McDonald's brothers took the McDonald's concept. And what they did and what the McDonald's brothers did that was so brilliant was they literally found a way to make cheeseburgers and hamburgers really fast. They simplified the menu and were able to make the food faster than all the competitors. And then Ray Kroc came along and took the McDonald's franchise and spread it all around the world. So now you have a massive amount of standardization in this model, this restaurant model that generates probably $100 billion a year or something. And I said, I think the same thing can be done when it comes to Black wealth education. We create a basic, simple model like the McDonald's brothers, something that's where my superpower is that I know how to take a simple idea that will have a massive impact on the economic outcome of any individual or family in the community. Like simple things like the POISE model, producer, owner, investor, saver, entrepreneur, the KID model, knowledge, investment, discipline, creating sturdy children, systems, technology, entrepreneurship, relationships, and delegation, right? So I said, look, I can name a small menu of maybe 7 to 10 things that we could get millions of people to have their children memorize and then give them a little capital base. And then that will elevate the Black community's wealth by trillions of dollars. And here's how much it would cost. It won't cost more than you spent on your daughter's birthday party or whatever. And I said, in fact, to feed your ego, if you want to, we can name them all after you. They can all be, I don't need my name on it. I don't want any of your money. I don't want a nickel of your money. I don't need any credit. I'll be the brains behind it. You get all the credit, man. You get to go tell everybody what you did, and you can put it in your name. You can put it in your mama's name. You can put it in your daughter's name. That's literally. So that was the pitch. That was what I laid out, and I'm repeating the pitch not because I care what Kanye thinks. I just don't. I don't pay attention to rappers that much. They call me, but I only talk to them if they make sense. But it's because I'm really saying this in the hopes that maybe some of you know somebody. Maybe one of you has a brother who has a $200 million NBA contract who buys into the vision, who's willing to invest in the vision, right? And I would love to support that, right? And whatever I have to do to show that this is not driven by some personal agenda of mine, I'd like to do that. That means if I have to do it for free of charge with no credit, I'm totally fine with that. But we have what we need. That's the point. We have what we need. If you take all this wealth that people are throwing away, buying Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Mercedes Benzes and all that, and we just invest a fraction of that into some systematic process. Again, similar to the McDonald's model, where we're standardizing Black education at a high level all across this country, we can just take over the whole game. I really believe we would absolutely forget what the Jewish community is doing, all that. We start dominating them, because when Black people really get focused, we become the best at things. Whatever we put our minds to, we dominate the world in these things. And I believe that this is also true with economics. So until somebody comes along and writes $100 million check to really help us get things done at a high level, it's okay. The Black Business School, we have a budget. It's not tiny. It's not large. It's about $2-3 million a year, and we reinvest that budget to build out the vision. So even if nobody comes along and writes the big check, we're just going to keep writing little checks, because what we have been able to do by me consistently talking to you every single day, like I have been for the last 15 years, is we have changed the economic culture in our community. Now people are talking about Black wealth at a level they never did it before. Rappers are rapping about wealth. It's sort of conditionally understood that wealth is important in the community. So we're making progress. We're going to get there. So basically, the way I would look at it is, right now, it's like we've been going down the street on a really fast bike, and we've gone thousands of miles on this bike. It would be really cool if somebody came along with a Porsche or a jet airplane, so we can go faster, and get further in a shorter period of time. But it's okay. I'm all right riding my bike. And also, in fact, like my mama taught us when we were little, I'm not going to get in the car with just anybody. So when a stranger rolls up and says, hey, hop in the car, I can get you there faster, I got to ask questions about your car. I need to know, what's this car made of? Who's the driver? Where's this car going? Because that's another problem, is that when you start doing things that are effective, people want to come along and get attached to you. Like Diddy, for example, is another guy that was very interested in Powernomics. Dr. Claude Anderson went to New York and met with Diddy. Well, imagine if he was in bed with Diddy, not figuratively, not literally, but figuratively or financially. Well, that would be a disaster, right? So all money ain't good money. And sometimes you got to just say no to stuff that doesn't make sense in terms of what you're trying to do. So what I would say to you, all of you in here, whatever you're doing, stay pure to your goal, stay pure to the mission. And just know that God got you. The universe has you. If you're putting energy and effort into something on a consistent basis, you will win. It will pay off. You will be successful. It just might take some time. So never give up. Keep moving forward. And that's what I'm going to do, because I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to be about it. So because we're not going to stop. We are winning. We're already winning. We're just going to keep winning more. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. And if you have any more, if some of you had a few more questions I didn't get a chance to answer, but if you email support at the Black businessschool.com. Just send your questions to them and they will answer it. And also you can bring your question tomorrow morning. We're going to meet tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, same time, same place. Make sure you get on the text list. Text the word morning to 87948. Text morning to 87948, and I'll send you a wake-up call. Have a good day, everybody. God bless you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.